200 men tried. 200 men failed. Some lasted 6 seconds. Some lasted 4. One confident judo black belt from Osaka lasted 8. Not a single man on earth had survived 10 seconds against him. Not one. His name was Viktor Krasnov. Not his real name. In the underground martial arts circuit of the 1960s, nobody used real names. They called him the Mountain. 6 feet 3 inches. 500 pounds of raw, unprocessed, terrifying human mass. A former Soviet Greco-Roman wrestler who defected to America in 1961 and discovered something more profitable than wrestling. Fear. He sold fear. And business was booming. The challenge was simple. Survive 10 seconds. Not win. Not fight. Not land a single punch. Just survive. Stay on your feet. Stay conscious. Don't tap out. Don't get thrown out of the ring. 10 seconds. That's all. The reward was $80,000. In 1967, that was more than most Americans earned in 4 years. Enough to buy a house in Los Angeles. Enough to change a life. The catch was that in 200 attempts across 15 cities, no one had ever collected. Not once. The money sat in a locked briefcase at the edge of every stage. Visible. Tempting. Untouched. Los Angeles, California. The Grand Olympic Auditorium. November 11th, 1967. Saturday night. The International Martial Arts Exposition is in its 2nd day. The auditorium holds 800 people tonight, almost full. The air smells of popcorn and leather and sweat. Cigarette smoke drifts through the spotlight beams above the main stage. Fighters on the main stage look like ghosts moving through clouds. But everyone knows why they're really here. Not for the karate demonstrations, not for the judo throws, not for the aikido wrist locks. They're here for the main event. The thing printed in bold red letters on every poster plastered across martial arts schools from San Diego to San Francisco. The Mountain Challenge. Survive 10 seconds. Win $80,000. Below that, a record that reads like a casualty report. 200 challengers. 200 defeated. Average survival time, 4.7 seconds. And below that, a single question designed to reach into the chest of every martial artist who read it and squeeze their ego until it either inflated or collapsed. Are you brave enough? In the 14th row, a small man in a black mandarin collar jacket reads the program. His eyes stop on that number, 4.7 seconds. He reads it again. His expression doesn't change. His name is Bruce Lee. 27 years old, 138 pounds, 5 feet 7. The same man who 3 years ago made 500 karate practitioners question everything they believed at the Long Beach International Championships. The same man who plays Kato on television and moves so fast that the cameras cannot capture him at normal speed. The same man who can do push-ups on 2 fingers and send a 200-pound man flying across a room with a punch that starts 1 inch from the target. That man is sitting in row 14 reading a program that says no human being on earth can survive 10 seconds against the Mountain. And something behind his eyes just changed. 3 days ago, his student Dan Inosanto called him. Dan had 2 extra tickets to the expo. But that was not why he called. He called because he knew what Bruce Lee could never resist. A problem that no one had solved. Dan said, "There's a giant at the expo, almost 500 pounds. He's been crushing martial artists across the country, 200 challengers in 15 cities. Nobody has lasted 10 seconds. Not karate black belts, Not judo champions, not wrestlers, not boxers, nobody. Bruce was quiet on the phone. Dan knew that silence. That silence meant Bruce Lee's brain had just shifted into a gear that most human minds don't have. The processing gear. The problem-solving gear. The gear that turned a skinny kid from Hong Kong into the most dangerous 138 pounds on the planet. "What's his technique?" Bruce asked. "That's the thing," Dan said. "He doesn't really have one. He just grabs you. And once he grabs you, it's over." The strength is so overwhelming that technique becomes meaningless. He picks men up and throws them, pins them, crushes them. One man in Chicago broke 3 ribs just from being pressed against the mat. Bruce asked a second question. "How does he grab?" Dan paused. "What do you mean?" "I mean his entry," Bruce said. "How does he close the distance? Does he rush? Does he wait? Does he circle? Left hand or right hand first? Does he reach high or low?" Dan thought about it. "He rushes," Dan said. "Straight forward, both arms wide, like a bear. He tries to wrap you up in a clinch. Once he gets his arms around you, your feet leave the ground and the fight is over." Bruce said nothing for 4 seconds. Dan counted. Then Bruce spoke. "A bear hug requires 2 arms around the body. That means his center line is open for approximately 1.5 seconds during the entry. That's 1.5 seconds where his chest, his throat, and his solar plexus have 0 protection." Dan felt a chill. He had trained with Bruce for years. He knew what Bruce could do in 1.5 seconds. Most people can blink in that time. Bruce Lee can deliver 6 strikes. "You're going to challenge him, aren't you?" Dan said. It wasn't a question. Bruce answered anyway. "Get me 2 tickets. Good seats. Now they're here. Row 14. The Grand Olympic Auditorium." The program in Bruce's hand says 4.7 seconds. Average survival time. Bruce reads it once, reads it twice, folds the program, slides it into his jacket pocket. He won't need it again. He's already memorized the only number that matters. Not 4.7, not 10, 1.5. The lights dim. A single spotlight hits center stage. The crowd noise drops to a murmur. Then silence. A voice crackles through the speaker system. Deep, theatrical. The kind of voice that belongs to boxing rings and circus tents. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event of the International Martial Arts Exposition. The moment you've been waiting for. The challenge that has defeated every man brave enough to accept it." The announcer pauses, lets the silence work. He's done this in 15 cities. He knows how to build anticipation. He knows how to sell fear. Karate champions, judo masters, professional wrestlers, Golden Gloves boxers, college football linebackers, military combat instructors, Marines, Green Berets, every kind of tough man this country produces has tried. The announcer's voice drops lower. Every single one has failed. The longest anyone has survived is 8.3 seconds. A judo black belt from Osaka, Japan. He lasted 8.3 seconds before being lifted 4 feet off the ground and driven into the stage so hard that the wood cracked beneath him. He walked with a limp for 6 weeks. The rules are simple. You step into the ring. The bell rings. If you are still on your feet, still conscious, and still inside the ring after 10 seconds, you win $80,000 cash. The announcer gestures to the edge of the stage where a man in a black suit stands holding an open briefcase. Inside, Stacks of $100 bills. Green, crisp, real. The spotlight catches the money. It glows. The audience stares at it. $80,000 right there. Touchable. Takeable. If you can survive. Now please welcome the man who has made that money untouchable. The undisputed, undefeated, unstoppable force of nature. Standing 6 feet 3 inches, almost 500 pounds. The mountain. Viktor Krasnov. The stage shakes before you see him. That's not metaphor. The actual wooden stage vibrates as he walks out from behind the curtain. You feel him before you see him. The audience gasps. They've seen big men before. Sumo wrestlers on television. Strong men at county fairs. This is different. Viktor Krasnov is not fat. That's the terrifying part. He is massive in a way that seems biologically wrong. His shoulders are wider than some doorways. His chest is a barrel wrapped in skin stretched to its limit. His thighs are thicker than most men's waists. His hands hang at his sides like two flesh-colored catcher's mitts. Each finger is the width of a normal man's thumb. His neck has disappeared entirely into a mountain range of trapezius muscle that connects his skull directly to his shoulders. He walks to center stage, stands under the spotlight, doesn't flex, doesn't pose, doesn't need to. His existence is his demonstration. The shadow he casts covers half the stage. The audience is silent. Not respectful silence like a karate tournament. Terrified silence. The silence of animals who sense a predator. Viktor doesn't speak. He has never spoken during a challenge. Not in 15 cities. Not in 200 fights. He doesn't need to. The announcer does his talking. Viktor just stands there and lets gravity do his introduction. But he has a ritual, the same one every time. He walks to the edge of the stage, picks up a wooden folding chair, standard issue, the kind you sit on at church gatherings and school assemblies. He holds it in one hand like a normal person holds a pencil. Then he closes his fist. The chair doesn't break. It doesn't snap. It compresses. The wood crumples inward like paper. The metal legs bend like soft wire. In 3 seconds, a functional chair becomes a twisted knot of wood and metal, no bigger than a basketball. He drops it. It hits the stage with a dead thump. The audience doesn't clap. They don't breathe. One woman in the 5th row stands up and leaves. She's seen enough. She doesn't want to watch what that hand does to a human body. 3 challengers go before the announcer scans the room for a 4th. A Marine, 230 pounds, crew cut, military bearing. He lasts 3.1 seconds. His feet leave the ground at 2.4. His face goes white. He can't breathe. His ribs are compressing. He taps at 3.1 3 times fast. Tap, tap, tap. The universal signal for I quit. I surrender. Please, stop. He sits on the stage, gasping, holding his ribs, eyes wet with involuntary tears from the pressure on his chest cavity. A wrestler from UCLA. 260 pounds. 5.2 seconds. A Kenpo black belt from San Diego. 195 pounds. 4.1 seconds. 3 challengers down. 3 failures. The briefcase still locked. The $80,000 still untouched. The audience has done the mathematics. Size wins. Mass wins. Gravity wins. The laws of physics are undefeated. Just like Viktor Krasnov, the announcer scans the crowd. His voice has lost some of its theater. Anyone else? Last call. $80,000. 10 seconds. Anyone? Silence. Nobody moves. The audience has done the calculation. 200 men have tried. 3 more just failed in front of their eyes. Different styles, different backgrounds, same result. Grabbed, lifted, crushed, done. The announcer waits. He's about to close the challenge. About to add 3 more names to the list of the defeated. 203 and counting. I'll try. The voice is quiet, conversational. It comes from the middle of the auditorium, row 14. It carries no aggression, no bravado, no chest-thumping declaration of courage. Just 2 words spoken the way you'd order coffee. I'll try. The announcer squints into the darkness beyond the stage lights. Who said that? I did. A man stands up. Row 14, seat 6. Black mandarin collar jacket. Black pants. No uniform. No belt visible. He's small. That's the first thing everyone notices. Not just regular small. Small in the context of what he's volunteering for. The 3 men who just failed were 230, 260, and 195 pounds. This man looks like he weighs less than all of them. Significantly less. Murmurs ripple through the audience. Some people laugh. Not cruel laughter. Protective laughter. The kind that says, "Please don't do this to yourself." A woman 3 seats away whispers to her husband, "Someone should stop him. He'll get killed." The announcer hesitates. "Sir, are you sure? This is full contact. There are no weight classes, no protective gear. You understand what you just saw?" "I saw it clearly," the man says. His voice is calm, almost amused. "That's why I'm volunteering." Dan Inosanto grabs Bruce's sleeve. His whisper is urgent, Cantonese mixed with English, the way they always speak when they don't want others to understand. "Bruce, I brought you here to watch, not to fight. You weigh 138 pounds. He weighs 500. That's 360 pounds of difference. Bruce, this isn't philosophy. This is bone density. This is compression force. This is a hospital visit." Bruce buttons his jacket. That single gesture, the same one he always makes before something begins. He looks at Dan. 1.5 seconds, Dan. That's all I need. Bruce Lee walks toward the stage. 800 people watch him. Every single one is thinking the same thing. This man is going to get hurt. Badly. He's too small, too light, too thin. The 3 men who just failed had a combined weight advantage of over 700 pounds over Victor, and they still lost. This man looks like he could fit inside Victor's shadow. The walk from row 14 to the stage is 40 feet. Bruce covers it in exactly the time it takes for the audience to start feeling guilty about watching. This feels wrong. This feels like watching someone walk into traffic. He reaches the stage, climbs the steps, 2 steps. His feet make almost no sound on the wood. Where Victor made the stage tremble, Bruce makes it whisper. He walks to center stage, and for the first time, the audience sees them together. Victor Krasnov and Bruce Lee, side by side under the same spotlight. The image is so absurd that a man in the 7th row actually stands up and shouts, "Don't do it, kid. You don't have to prove anything." Bruce doesn't turn around, doesn't acknowledge the warning. He's already past the point where words from strangers mean anything. The announcer approaches Bruce with a clipboard. Standard procedure. Name, Bruce Lee. Weight, 138 pounds. The announcer's pen stops moving. He looks up. He looks at Victor. He looks back at Bruce. 138. That's correct. Sir, the lightest challenger tonight was 195 pounds. The lightest challenger ever was 172 pounds. You're 138. I can count, Bruce says. The announcer stares for a moment, then writes it down. Martial arts background: Jeet Kune Do, Wing Chun, Chinese boxing. The announcer has never heard of Jeet Kune Do. He writes Chinese martial arts and moves on. Any injuries or medical conditions we should know about? None, Bruce says. But you should have a medical team ready. The announcer blinks. We always do. For the challenger. Bruce looks at him. His expression is perfectly neutral. I wasn't talking about me. The announcer walks away confused. Victor stands in his corner of the ring. He has watched this small man approach. He has heard the stats. 138 pounds. He has processed this information the same way he processes all challenger information. Irrelevant. Weight doesn't matter when the minimum is this low. Whether the man weighs 138 or 238, the result will be identical. Grab, lift, squeeze, drop next. But something makes Victor look twice. He can't identify it. Something in the way this small man moves. Something in the way he stands. His feet aren't planted the way frightened men plant their feet. Wide, rigid, bracing for impact. This man's feet are light. His weight is forward, slightly, just enough to suggest that he isn't preparing to defend. He's preparing to attack. Victor dismisses the thought. Attack what? His kneecap. Victor has 360 pounds on this man. There is nothing to attack when you are facing a mountain. Mountains don't have weak points. Mountains just exist. And everything smaller than a mountain eventually gets crushed. The announcer returns to center stage. Ladies and gentlemen, our final challenger of the evening, Bruce Lee, 138 pounds, representing Chinese martial arts. The audience applauds politely, sympathetically. The way you clap for someone you expect to see, carried off on a stretcher. A few martial artists in the crowd recognize the name. Whispers travel. That's the guy from the Green Hornet, the one who plays Kato. He's a kung fu teacher in L.A. Is he crazy? He's going to die in there. One man in the back row, an older Chinese gentleman who has trained in Wing Chun for 30 years, grips his armrest and says nothing. He knows something this crowd doesn't. He knows what Wing Chun was designed for. Not tournaments, not demonstrations, not Hollywood. Survival against bigger, stronger opponents in the narrow alleyways of southern China, where running wasn't an option, and size meant nothing in a space 3 feet wide. The bell rings. Victor does what Victor always does. He explodes forward, both arms wide, head down, 500 pounds of human freight train covering the distance between them in under 2 seconds. This is the moment that has ended 200 men. This is the rush, the avalanche, the tsunami of flesh and bone that no technique in any martial art has been able to answer. Every previous challenger has done one of 3 things. Some freeze, paralyzed by the sight of 500 pounds charging at them. They get grabbed while standing still. Some retreat, backpedal, try to escape. Victor is faster than he looks. He catches them at the ropes. Some attack. Throw a punch, a kick, a desperate technique that bounces off Victor's body like rain off concrete. Then they get grabbed. Every response has failed. All 3 options have been tried hundreds of times. Freeze, retreat, attack. None of them work. Bruce Lee chooses option 4, the option that doesn't exist. The option no one has tried because no one has thought of it. He moves forward. Not backward, not sideways. Forward into the charge. Toward 500 pounds of oncoming destruction. The audience gasps. Several people look away. They don't want to see the collision. A 138-pound man moving toward a 500-pound freight train is not bravery. It's mathematics. And the mathematics say this man is about to be destroyed. But Bruce Lee doesn't collide with Viktor Krasnov. Bruce Lee is not where Viktor expects him to be. In the 1.8 seconds it takes Viktor to cross the ring, Bruce has moved forward and to the left. Not far, 18 inches. Just enough to be outside the arc of Viktor's outstretched arms. Just enough to let 500 pounds of momentum rush past him like a train passing a man standing 1 foot from the tracks. You feel the wind. You feel the ground shake, but you are untouched. Viktor's arms close on empty air. His momentum carries him 2 steps past where Bruce was standing. For the first time in 203 challengers, Viktor Krasnov has grabbed nothing. Viktor turns around, confused. This has never happened. In 203 attempts, no one has ever made him miss. He resets, faces Bruce again, charges again, faster this time, angrier. His arms sweep wider, covering more area, leaving no escape. Bruce moves again, same direction, left. But this time, he doesn't just evade. As Viktor's massive right arm sweeps past him, Bruce's left hand touches it, lightly. 2 fingers on the inside of Viktor's wrist. Not pushing, not grabbing, guiding. The arm that was meant to trap him continues its arc, but now travels 2 inches further than Viktor intended. 2 inches. In combat, 2 inches is the difference between capture and freedom. Viktor's arms close behind Bruce, behind him, grabbing each other instead of their target. Viktor is hugging himself. 500 pounds of confused momentum stumbling forward, while a 138-pound man stands calmly behind him like a matador who has just let the bull pass. The audience cannot process what they're seeing. Their brains reject it. This small man is not just surviving. He is making the giant miss, repeatedly, effortlessly, like it's choreographed. But it's not choreographed. Viktor's frustration is real. His confusion is genuine. His breath is getting heavier. He has never worked this hard. Never had to chase a challenger. Challengers come to him. They get grabbed. They fail. That's the script. This man is rewriting the script. Viktor charges a 3rd time. Every ounce of 500 pounds committed. No technique, no strategy. Pure animal aggression. The mountain coming down on a village. And this time, Bruce doesn't just evade. He steps inside. Close. Impossibly close. Inside the radius of Viktor's arms, where the grab has no power. His right foot plants between Viktor's massive boots. His right hand rises, open palm, aimed upward at Viktor's chin. It stops. 1 inch away. Not a punch. A message. 1 inch between Bruce Lee's palm and Viktor Krasnov's jaw. 1 inch between consciousness and unconsciousness. 1 inch between standing and falling. 1 inch between the mountain and the ground. Bruce holds it there. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. Viktor freezes. His eyes cross, trying to focus on the hand below his chin. He understands. For the first time since he started this challenge, Viktor Krasnov understands that he is not the most dangerous person on this stage. The arena holds its breath for 3 seconds. Then it detonates. 800 people erupt, screaming, standing, stomping the old wooden floor until it shakes harder than Viktor's footsteps ever did. They have just witnessed the impossible. A 138-pound man didn't just survive. He made surviving look unnecessary. He proved that the question was never, could you survive 10 seconds against the mountain? The real question was, could the mountain survive against someone who understood that size is a wall, but speed is water, and water always finds a way through the wall? Bruce steps back, bows slightly, walks off the stage, down the steps, back through the auditorium. Row 14, seat 6. Sits down. Dan Inosanto is shaking. His hands are trembling. How many seconds was that? Bruce picks up his program, opens it to the page he folded, smooths the crease with his thumb. I wasn't counting, he says. I told you I wasn't interested in surviving 10 seconds. The briefcase sits at the edge of the stage, $80,000 untouched. Bruce Lee never collected it. He never asked. He didn't come for money. He came to prove something that no amount of money could buy. That physics has exceptions. That mountains have weak points. That 138 pounds of water will always find a way around 500 pounds of rock. 800 witnesses. 203 who failed. 1 who didn't. November 11th, 1967. The Grand Olympic Auditorium. The night the mountain met the water, and the water won.